The world gets crazy sometimes. It's crazy all the time. And fellas, sometimes we just need to get away. And down south, we go hunting and fishing to get away. This is the Backroads Podcast. Let's do this. Welcome to the Backroads Podcast. Now, here's your host, Chris Hobbs.
Well, welcome in, everybody, to another episode of the Backroads Hunting and Fishing Podcast. Once again, on the phone with me is one Mr. Lee Pitts, the legend of Cedar Bluff, Alabama, the crappie king of Alabama. Lee, how you doing, buddy?
Man, I'm doing good. How about you, Chris?
Man, I'm doing all right. Just trying to get through this heat, man, so we can get on to some easier fishing, some dove hunting, and then deer hunting. I'm ready.
Well, it's one of those things today. Like I said, we had a little bit of rain out here, and man, I mean, just that little bit of rain, and it, dripping off the leaves, and everything cooled down just a little bit. It gives you that fever.
Gives you the itch, doesn't it?
It gives you the itch.
Man, I posted some trail cam pics on the Facebook page, and I don't know if you've seen them yet, but there are some studs in this little honey hole, and man, they're in velvet. I can't wait to see what these deer are in October.
That's what gets you fired up right there. I mean, it really, really gets you blood flowing when all of a sudden you start getting those pictures popping in. You know, you get them coming in a little bit, and you're looking, and then all of a sudden, You know, I mean, that's what gets your whole season, man. I mean, you start getting fired up and ready to roll.
I am ready to go. I bought soap. I bought deodorant. I bought.
That's what's so funny. Most of these guys, I'm okay. I'll wash my crap the weekend before it starts. All of a sudden, you go look at them cameras, them horns go to popping up. Oh God, I gotta get that. Oh man, I gotta go to Walmart. I gotta go to, I gotta get somewhere to get me all this cover scent.
Oh man, it's amazing, man. I'm telling you, I got so fired up. I bought deodorant and shower stuff, and man, I my wife's looking at me going, it's a little early, and I showed her the pictures, and she goes, oh, okay.
Yeah, I get it. I get it. I got you.
But look, before we delve into how the fishing is on the Coosa, I'm going to talk about something with somebody you know pretty well, and that is Kevin Van Dam. And Kevin, as everybody should know, that is a fishing fan. Fished his last tournament this last weekend. Didn't win. Came in second. Was an emotional time for him based on some of the videos he posted on Facebook. But, man, what an ambassador for the sport of fishing. I put him up there with this guy called Lee Pitts.
Well, and everybody that knows us know we're joking right now. I mean, we are joking, man. I wish I could even be in the same meeting with him. Okay, so yeah, everybody knows what Kevin Van Dam is.
Well, and I know you and Kevin's paths have crossed in the 30+ years that both of y'all have been fishing. Do you have any stories or anything you can tell us about Kevin that hadn't already been said?
And it was one of those things. Like I said, I have met him. I've met him a time or two, and we started out back in, this has been 30 years ago. We were fishing BASS. I fished him. He fished him. Kevin is one of the things that I would love to kind of talk on a little bit. Ever since he started and he got going, no one that I know, nothing I've ever heard of. Kevin Van Dam has been on track since day one. like I said, we're talking 30 years ago when we fished the invitationals together.
Right.
I fished against him. He probably wouldn't know me, remember me, or anything, but Kevin used to room with a man and travel with a man, Jim Bitter. Jim Bitter kind of took him under his wing. Jim Bitter's a great fisherman. He's done very, very well through BASS. Nothing that I've ever heard or no one has ever said is negative about Kevin Van Dam. And that shows a whole lot about what this man is, was, is, will be. He's always done things the right way. He has always been a gentleman. He has been an ambassador of our sport through the whole way. And, I mean, that's just, I mean, you know, I don't think anyone could ever take anything from him.
No, not at all. I mean, I have followed him as long as I have been following fishing, and that's been a long time.
Right.
I didn't meet him. It's just one of those fan things, you know. I went to the Gunnersville tournament, and he's walking up from the ramp, and I just kind of stopped and talked to him. He signed my hat. Did not have a good day, but still was very, very nice to me. Appreciated me coming out. And, I mean, I have nothing but good things to say about Kevin Van Dam. And of course, you know, at this stage, you know, that he's retired and everybody's going to have nice things to say. But I wanted to get your thoughts on him. And here's just a few little stats on Kevin throughout his 30-plus year career. He's got 111 top 10 finishes, 173 top 20 finishes, 214 top 30 finishes. And in 2002, he was actually the first ever outdoorsman to win an ESPY award, given out by ESPN. So, I mean, what's this guy not doing?
Exactly. Just what you're saying. I mean, he has reached the pinnacle of every format that he's been in. You know what I mean?
Right.
This is a guy that, and I know yourself, you're going to say, well, you know, who's going to beat this or who is next? Who's this, that? I don't think anybody can ever accomplish and achieve what he has done. I mean, you look at it, you put it out, and there it is. I don't think anybody could ever beat it.
I don't see this happening on the horizon. Not in my lifetime.
Yeah.
I mean, I really don't. I mean, you know, and I've got more stats here. 3 Major League Fishing Cup titles, 4 Bassmaster Classic titles. He's tied with Rick Klung for the most. 8 Angler of the Years, 7 in BASS and 1 in FLW. Career winnings of almost $7 million.
And that's like on God, man, what is that? $7 billion, Mr. Dr. Evil. Yeah, I mean, you know, you look at this. I mean, we're that. Hey, that's a chunk of change right there.
Man, yes, that's not his endorsements or sponsor money. That's money he won from a tournament.
Yeah,
and that's a ton of money.
That's when everybody puts their cards down and okay, you take, here you go, you rake it in.
Exactly.
Yeah.
He's won 25 bass tournaments. Look, man, you know how difficult it is to make it into the Bassmaster Classic.
Oh my God, yeah.
All right. Well, he's got, I think we're looking at 32 years. Anyway,
so
a little more than 30.
Every year he has competed, he's made it.
He's been in it 26 times.
Right.
I mean, that's crazy. Most people are lucky to ever be in it one time.
Yeah, one time. That's what everybody, I'd love to one time make that.
Yeah. I mean, that's nuts. And, you know, the last thing is he finished second 16 times.
Wow. I mean you can't. I mean, hey, put that on a baseball player's, you know, oh my Lord, or a quarterback on the throw catch ratio on that right there. there's no way. I mean, he had just smoked all of that.
Yeah, he's an amazing person. And on his, before he launched last Saturday, on his or Saturday or Sunday, I can't remember. I mean, he was very emotional in his little Facebook post he made, but he really thanked his wife, Sherry.
Yeah.
I mean, I couldn't have done this without you, and you know this as well, and I know I keep saying that, but an angler's wife has a lot to do with their success.
I'm gonna tell you something. That's a tough seat to be in, and I can tell you, that from just what I do, and I'm not, traveling as much as I used to or whatever. But even a fisherman's wife, I'm blessed with my wife Laura. She's my biggest cheerleader. She's my biggest supporter, and I tell you what, it's tough on her when I'm dealing with clients and I'm dealing with sponsorship and I'm dealing with this and that, and it takes away from some of our time. But she's right there behind me. She's right there with me. And so, I mean, with what he does, multiply that's a strong woman too.
Yeah, that's right. And I'm not sure. I'm sure there have been a lot of great fishermen out there that have been, and God, I hate to say it, but I just feel like it's the truth, so I'm going to say it. There's a lot of great fishermen out there that have been not met their full potential because of situations at home. They're not getting the support they need. They're not, why hadn't you done this? Why hadn't you done that? And you're doing everything you can to put food on the table. And it's a tough life. It's a tough life. So my hat's off to all the professional anglers that have, spouses that really, really support them. Well, Lee, let's get into what's going on with fishing on the Coosa right now. I know it's hot as crap still, but I know you've talked to some guys that have been on the water, and I know you've been out there a little bit. Tell us a little bit about what's going on.
Man, what's happening right now, and it's kind of crazy, it's that flip-flop time of year. Used to September was terrible everywhere, but August, these fish that have been out there deep in that July, water, and they're out there just trying, the bait's there, everything's there. Now things are swapping around. I fished last Saturday, and what was so crazy, the water temperature, you're looking at mid-80s, upper 80s. It's 100 plus outside. These fish have rolled back shallow on the Coosa. I mean, it is crazy, but there's a better oxygen content up shallow than it is deep. So a lot of these fish and I had an older guy tell me this years ago. He was a catfisherman. He put out catfish baskets, and he would come to my store and talk to me. And he said, "Well, you better start going shallow. I'm like, "Man, it's 100 degrees." He said, "Yeah, I'm going to tell you something. Every basket I put out in 14, 15 foot of water, I better check it the next day or they'll be dead as a hammer." He said, "But I can put baskets out in 4 or 5 foot. They're good for a week." So that showed me that the oxygen content is so much better shallow than it is deep right now. These fish are rolling back over. They're trying to get on that shallow brush, shallow docks, whatever break in the river they can find with some stumps on it. So a lot of these fish, you would think it's 300 degrees, but they're going to be up in some of that shallower water.
Well, that's complete opposite of what most people think about when they think of hot summer fishing. You're always thinking about
you
deep.
Think, man, it's summertime, let's go out there deep and drag a worm.
So why is it? Why does the lake roll over like that in this heat?
I think a lot of it is you got more boat traffic that sloshes these banks out there in that deep stuff. The oxygen level just depletes. you don't have that. A lot of times when you're a kid, you could dive down and feel that cool water. It's already got hot. So the fresher water, the more oxygen, the more shade, the more everything you have is shallow. So that's where they're going.
Wow. That's that makes perfect sense. But like I said, that's complete opposite of, if I was going to go out today, I'm going to look, for a little deeper offshore structure, or find some springs coming in and get that cooler water.
And in that June and July, you will. But when they start getting this time of year, those fish are kind of scattering a little bit. You better start looking for some kind of other brush, shade spots, current breaks, something like that, where they don't have to fight that current.
That's crazy, man. That's crazy. Well, look, Lee, I know you're tired. I know you've had a long day today. And, man, I really appreciate your time. We're going to bring Jeff Daniel on in a minute, and Jeff's going to talk to us a little bit about Wedowee and the fishing there. We don't talk about Wedowee much, so it's nice to have Jeff on to give us a report from down in Wedowee. What a beautiful lake that is down there. If you've never fished it, make the drive. It is well worth it. It's frustrating because it's so deep, but there's a lot of reward there too because they have some monsters in there.
Yeah, there's some very, very big fish in Wedowee.
That's right. Well, Lee, thanks, man, and we'll talk to you next week.
All right, Chris. Hey, man, sounds good. And I'm going to get out there again tomorrow and hopefully have a little better news for you on the fishing report.
There you go. Well, I mean, it's summertime, man.
Well, and that's the thing. I mean, I'll tell you what they're doing. If they ain't doing much, I can't make up a whole lot about it.
You can't tell no story.
I can't tell no stories.
Well, all right, Lee. Talk to you next week.
All right, thank you.
All right, Jeff, you with us?
I am, yes, sir.
Well, welcome back to the program, Mr. Jeff Daniel. Listen, Lee and I have been talking about the heat, fishing in Alabama, and I really wanted to get your take on Lake Wedowee since it is so deep. Is the fishing any better on Wedowee than say the Coosa River that's not as deep as Wedowee?
Yeah, I think it is. Now, the general principles, hey, it gets the dog days of summer, your fish pull out offshore, go deep. The general principles are the same. Wedowee is a different monster, though, in that it is a deep, clear highland reservoir. And the fish there, especially your spotted bass, really tend to just roam under bait. It's like those North Georgia lakes where they have blueback herring and, your fish are not really relating to structure. They're just roaming, and they may be 30 feet deep over 80 feet of water. That's a challenge. But now largemouth, they kind of do what they do everywhere. It's just, whereas on the Coosa, they might be in 15 foot of water. At Wedowee, they're in 35. So
right. Well, what in your experience there, how do you manage to fish for bass that are that deep?
It is an electronics game, honestly, and I say that's how I do it. There are still some old school guys, just fellas who have fished there forever. They just know where every brush pile and big rock and, et cetera is. But by and large, for me, it is an electronics game, especially using the forward facing, the live scope.
Right.
Even if I am brush pile fishing, I'm really live scoping those fish. And a way that I have kind of educated myself with the live scope is you can run around and look, brush pile here, brush pile there. There's no fish on it. So instead of wasting 10 minutes to fish there and not get a bite, you really don't have to, because you can literally look and see there's not a fish there. So deep brush at Wedowee this time of year is the ticket. That's That's really the game. And honestly, nighttime, and I joke, look, I've gotten too old for night fishing, but that lake is just famous for hot summer night tournaments. You know, they're coming in 3 fish tournaments, and they're coming in with 15, 16, 18 pounds with 3 fish.
Good Lord.
So that's what it's famous for.
Is it more just vertical fishing?
You can, and I'm sure some people do that, but really and truthfully, it's really just like going to the Coosa. They're up. Some of them guys are up shallow, throwing a big spinnerbait, just bumping it down those steeper, rocky banks. But by and large, they're still brush pile fishing, just taking a big worm, whatever they might want to throw, and going to those deep brush piles. And I'll still bet you they're using, forward-facing sonar. The majority of these guys these days are.
Now, when we talked a couple of days ago, we talked about Wedowee, you brought up the crappie.
Yes.
Are people still catching crappie this time of year, in deep water?
They are, yeah. So I won't speak for what everyone is doing. That lake, if you go there in the spring, there's 100 boats every day. Everywhere you look, they're trolling. Now, no one is trolling right now, probably because the fish are deeper. And, for example, we've gone 3 or 4 times over the last few weekends, and the fish we're seeing, again, deep brush. And when I say deep, I'm talking 20 to 35 feet seems to be the magic number. The majority of these brush piles I'm looking at that deep, the crappie are just ganged on them. And I told you a story about, we went bass fishing a couple of weekends ago, fished for about an hour, and it was pretty lousy. Pulled up on a brush pile, and I said, my, look at all those crappie. Let's see if we can catch some. And about 4 hours later, we had caught about 50 right there.
Wow.
And the best 5 crappie, not bass, the best 5 crappie were 11.41 pounds.
Good God.
They were they were big as dinner plates. They were giants.
That's a slab.
Yeah. And a lot of those fish, they were so deep. We did not initially intend to keep them, but they were so deep when we would bring them up, probably half of them would very quickly turn up on their side. Some guys would fizz those fish. We're not. We're going to fillet them.
Yeah. Those go in peanut oil.
That's right.
or they go in a bag and go in the freezer.
Yeah.
Well, that's Lee and I have discussed at length about, what if you still want to fish and the heat doesn't bother you, all these young people, and I'm not speaking for me on that because the heat does bother me.
Yeah.
Wedowee would be a great choice this time of year. Get off the Coosa, get on a different body of water, and learn how to fish it. And you, like Jeff, can bring home a ton of fish.
And
may not be bass, but
the heat doesn't bother me if I'm catching fish.
yeah, that's true. That's true. But for some reason, just the last couple of years, I just turned 60 in July, so just the last couple of years, the heat has been brutal to me. I don't know why. I don't know if it's your body chemistry changes that abruptly, or I just never noticed it over time, and then just all of a sudden, bam.
Yeah. For me, the heat has become, just more oppressive. I catch myself fatiguing, more easily. But as much as anything, as I got older, went through my 40s, I began to have skin cancer places routinely cut off. Just had 2 big, large skin grafts on my face from skin cancer. So
I remember you telling me that.
Yeah, that has run me off more than anything.
Yeah, I just went to the dermatologist, and you fishermen out there, don't ignore any place on your body that's not right.
Mm-hmm.
If you see something that's not right, go Go see your
Absolutely.
dermatologist and get it taken care of, because the quicker they catch it, the better for you. You don't want to. I mean, I still want to fish many more years,
That's
but
right.
that's a scary thing. So I've got a place on my shoulder. I'm going to go get checked out next week. So I'm going to get that taken care of.
Well, hope it's nothing.
Well, I think it is. It seems to be some other stuff that I've had just frozen off before.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I like to double check. I'm not going down that skin cancer road.
Yeah.
That's not a road for me, man.
Right.
Well, look, Jeff, Lee and I were talking about Kevin Van Dam earlier, and he just fished his last competitive tournament. He said he's going to stay. You know, you will still see him, but it won't be in a competitive fishing role. And, you know, what a great ambassador for the sport of fishing over the last 30-plus years. Do you have some thoughts on Kevin that you'd like to share?
I really don't know where I would even begin, but what immediately comes to mind, so I'm 49. And he's been in the public spotlight, 30 years?
I think he started in 1990.
Yeah. I was in 10th grade in 1990. I literally don't know the fishing world without him. He has always been the most famous name. You Bill Dance and all that, but really and truthfully, in my lifetime, Kevin Van Dam is the most famous name in fishing there has been.
Oh, sure.
And he was born to market. He just has the perfect personality for it. And he's doggone good.
He's very good. And I was going over the list with Lee on, just his accomplishments. 4 Bassmaster Classic titles. Most people are lucky to win one. And you have a lot of good fishermen out there, Jeff, that have never won one.
Oh, absolutely.
And he's won 4. So that's crazy.
Yeah.
But, Jeff, I know you're busy. I know you've had a long day, Alfa insuring today. So if anybody wanted to insure their boat or their car or homeowners, tell them how they can get a hold of you.
Yeah, you can always go to our website. You can text me, call me on my cell number. Chris, should I give that out publicly?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, it's we were in Central Alabama. It's a 256 area code, so it's 256. Let me give you my office number: 256-237-4810. You can go to Alfa. That's ALFA, alfainsurance.com. Again, my name is Jeff Daniel. No S on Daniel. You can look me up, email me, the whole 9 yards. We can do it all over the phone and email. We insure boats left and right. Tremendous policies, all the bells and whistles, fantastic pricing. We would love a chance to earn your business.
Well, and that's something I need to say too. Is I've been with you for several years now. We met at the sporting goods store, and you said to me, "Hey, man, just come by. Let me give you a quote. If I can't beat what you got, it's not going to hurt a thing." And
Absolutely.
I did, and you beat it, and I've been with you ever since, and I'm extremely, extremely satisfied with Alfa Insurance, and with you and Megan and your staff. Great people, great insurance, and Jeff, I appreciate your time.
Man, it's my pleasure. Anytime.
Talk to you next week.
Thank you, sir.
All righty. Thank you guys for listening, and we will talk to y'all next week.